I will start here in a second. I'm gonna just give people a minute if you want to. Hey there, how you doing? Thanks for coming. And I'm gonna be starting here in just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pray. But every day at 1 o'clock, well, excuse me, Lord, that ain't true. Every Saturday at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Eastern, I do a weekly Bible study. So thank you for coming. I'm also they not. It won't feel the same. It doesn't work that way. Sorry, no. Mom was trying to communicate something. I don't know. But in short, if you're here, just stay here, and then I'll post additional videos later onto the different platforms I have. But I will make note of those as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna sit this down. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do it sideways, or I don't know how to make it stay. So. Okay. I don't know how to make it stay, y'all, so, because it is.
It ain't gonna work.
It just was.
You gotta set it up.
No, it don't. The video still records either way. It didn't go off. I'm not gonna be able to hold it. I don't know, but I'll do it. I don't know. I don't have time to figure that out. We should figure it out before 1 o'clock, so we're gonna be on time. Right. Well, Father, I just want to thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be in your midst and to be able to deliver a word to your people. I pray that it blesses you and that I fulfill what you asked me to do this afternoon. I thank you, Lord, for Miss Ida that is here with us. I thank you for Miss Yolanda and many that are tuning in on Instagram and also via Zoom. If more people want to, of course, watch it also on YouTube because we do repost them there. So I just pray that this be a blessing to them and that they find some of the things that they're looking for and some of the things that you have to say in this season for the many people that are asking questions and seeking your answer and your truth. May this be an answer and a fulfillment to some of the things that they've already heard, and bless it to resonate with their spirit and let it take them where they are and cross them over the bridge. The message of today is called "Don't Be Afraid to Cross Through the Sea," and it's a two-part message because I'm going to talk about the first part to bring it to the second. So may you first be glorified in the teaching of this word in Yeshua's name. Hallelujah. Okay, so throughout this week, whenever the Lord wants me to teach something, I always ask him, okay, Father, what are we talking about? Because anybody can open up this book and start reading and get downloaded information. But the question is, what does the Lord have to say to his people that he wants to be said in a corporate way? Not necessarily in an intimate way, because when you read the word, I'm sure you get information like I do. So there is no separation for, the Lord says he's not a respecter of persons. So when we do things like this, the question becomes, okay, well, Lord, how can you get glory out of whatever you want to get, this week? And one of the biggest things that I kept saying over and over and over again from, some of the work I do, some of the people I talk to, and that I know is that a lot of them are gifted to do certain things, but they are stuck with being here when they want to be there, and they don't know really what is stopping them from going from here to there. And so I said, okay, Lord, well, what really does stop us? What keeps us from going from, where we are to where you want us? Is it fear? Everybody has all these messages on fear. And so, Lord, I was like, I don't want to be a resounding gong, beating a dead horse. And people already got and have an understanding what fear is. And he said, well, this is what I want you to teach people so that they can understand what I have to say to them now. And for me to give the message according to what the Lord wants me to say, it came from 3 different chapters. And so you're going to hear me go from Jasher to Exodus to Genesis. And hey there, everybody on both platforms, how you doing? And so when I go from Jasher to Exodus to Genesis, I want to show you how these books are connected. Many of us probably have never heard of the book of Jasher. And there is some history behind the book Jasher, but I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about that because, that will take a minute to go through. But in short, the book of Jasher is the name that we know it today as, but it was also known under another name as well. But what we need to know is that Jasher is mentioned in Joshua chapter 10, verses 13, as well as verse 2. It's also mentioned in 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 18, and it's also mentioned in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 8. So people say, well, how do you know if this book Jasher is even legitimate? How do we know if you're really reading something that the Lord, has approved, or is it just some heretic that wrote a book and you're preaching or you're ministering from it? And this is how we know, because we believe that the word is inspired by the Most High, and that it is God breathed. And this book is one of those books that are also included. And I want to show you how the book of Jasher, the book of Genesis, the book of Exodus are all saying the same thing. But what you find is that there are more details in Jasher than it is in our Genesis. And so I do believe those are some of the things that we need to know so we understand, how we got here. I know a lot of people will say, man, Lord, I was doing this, and the next time I look up, I'm somewhere else. I don't know if y'all ever been to a beach and you start walking into the water, and then you start walking into the water at one point. But then when you look up and you turn around and look behind you, you'll notice that your blanket is somewhere at a diagonal. Meaning, when you were walking, the ground underneath you was shifting, the sand shifts, and currents pull you. And you think you're walking straight, but you're really walking at an angle, or everything that's around you is shifting to the point where when you look up, you're in a whole nother space when you start. And you're not going in a straight line, you're going at an angle. And so where you were coming from isn't as clear as you thought it was. And so when you read, Jasher and Exodus and Genesis, we get the perspective of what they were all saying, in reading them all. So with that being said, some of the key elements that we have to take a look at is what was life like for the Hebrews before bondage. How did they get into bondage? Why were they in the bondage? What did they lose? Was it their fault? Like in the New Testament, it says, who sinned? What brought this on? How come this person is born with a disability? How come this person is poor? How come this person is wealthy? Was it because they were so great in a former life? Was it because they did something that pleased the Lord so much, or he hated so much that he just drove them insane? The Bible says, Esau have I hated and Jacob have I loved. What happened to all the Esau kids? Were they all doomed to disaster and gloom? The short answer is the Lord still provided for Esau's kids. Even though he did not like Esau, he still gave Esau a portion, and he made others respect it. Even though he did not like Cain for what he did to Abel, he still provided for Cain so that he was not a misfit. So the short of it is, some people say, well, Lord, because they're rich, they got to be righteous. No, they don't. He will bless people and put people where he wants them because that's what he said. Now, do we have to understand? Do we have to agree? No, we don't. Nineveh proved that because Jonah was like, oh, I'm not going because these people don't deserve the Lord's mercy. These people don't deserve his grace. Well, let me tell you, did you know that the king of Nineveh was once the king of Egypt? Many of y'all probably didn't know that, but today you're going to learn some things. So let's start off with probably something, most of us do know. For example, we know that Jacob, aka Israel, had 12 sons. They were living in the land of the Canaanites, and while they were in the land of the Canaanites, the Lord gave them promises. You see, Abraham got a promise, and Israel, or Jacob, also got a promise. And so what we find is that the Bible says Christ, or the Messiah has said that I don't live off bread alone, but from every word from the Most High. So if I don't live off bread alone, then that means I live off his word, because heaven and earth will pass away before one thing you say not come to pass. So what are we really living off of? We live off the word. So if the Lord gives you a word, whether it's written in here, or it's written in your heart, or it's given to you by a prophet, you live on that word, because the Bible says that's the only way to live. If you live on anything else, it is sinking sand. He says you put your faith in people, foolish man, because people can hurt you without even trying to, because they learn in part, hear in part, and they can only do so much because they ain't the Most High. So we can't get mad when people cannot go with us. We can only say, well, I guess that's their limitation, and we all have them because we're not him. And so I also asked the question, what was the Egyptians' understanding? How did they respect and regard the Hebrews? So to put it in context, of course, Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery because they were jealous of him, and because Joseph had an attitude problem. He did think he was better than his brothers. He was a tattletale. Krystal, aka a snitch. He was, in some ways a suck up to his father. He wanted his father to just constantly, throw praises on him. And his father even obliged his request. And so his sons were feeling abandoned and forgotten because they didn't get as much attention. I mean, even if you look at today's world, there are some people that even try to get mad at the Most High because they feel like he's not equal to them with somebody else. And the Bible says, I am not a man. So the first thing we got to realize is with the Lord, we cannot be so quick to group him in with natural understandings because we will find ourselves fighting with God, fighting with the Most High because we struggle to understand his depthness. So in the case of Israel, though, we're talking about people. We're talking about imperfect people trying to worship and be obedient to an all-perfect Elohim, to the all-perfect Most High, to the one that created everything that is good. And so, they fell short. They sold their brother. And then, of course, their brother rose in the ranks because he was faithful and tried and tested and true. And because of the gifts that he was given, said that it's not my gifts that gave me the ability to be able to read dreams and give interpretation, but it is the Lord that gives the interpretation, and I'm only telling you what I hear. So it is the word that got him hidden. So the moment he forgets that the word is how he lives and breathes and runs the kingdom, Joseph would have not been where he was. And so the word took him from being a slave to now being the governor. And so in Genesis chapter 15, verses 12 through 14, I want to go through the first promise, because this promise sets up the rest of the book. So in Genesis 15, in your Bible, you can be in the Bible I use, you can be in the Bible you use, but you're going to find that this is in there. So let's go to Genesis chapter 15, verses 12 through 14. And this is what it reads. It says, and behold, your eyes see, and, sorry. Hold on. I'm going there later. I got too many things though. Hold on. Okay, so verse 12. It says, and when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great sustenance. You see, many of us, we have been taught that this 200 years that some people were enslaved in Egypt, that this is a one-time thing, that this will never happen again, and that, what is said here in Genesis was fulfilled in Egypt. Well, I tell you that was not fulfilled in Egypt because the Egyptians enslaved the Hebrews for only 200 some odd years, which means that they were short 100 and some odd years of this here prophecy. So you see, 400 years had to take place before this prophecy can be manifested. And what I want to show you is who are the people that resonate with this 400-year prophecy, and how does this now make sense for us today and have an understanding. So we go from Genesis, and that is the first promise, and then we have to go now to the book of Jasher, which I know many of you do not have, but I'm going to read it for you, because we have to have an understanding of where we were and where we're going. So in Jasher, I don't know if you ever, Jasher comes in many of books. This is the book I have, but there is a lot of them that includes like all of, Jasher, Jubilee, stuff like that. So if you don't have it, don't worry. I'm going to still read it for you, but you can go on Google and Google it too. So on Jasher chapter 56 is where we want to go into right now. And if you go to Jasher chapter 56, verses 8 through 21, that is where we're going to read right now. So it says, and Jacob said unto Judah, I know, my son, that thou art a mighty man for thy brethren. Reign over them, and thy sons shall reign over their sons forever. Only teach thy sons the bow and all the weapons of war, in order that they may fight the battles of their brother, who will rule over his enemies. And Jacob again commanded his sons on that day, saying, behold, I shall be this day gathered unto my people, carry me up from Egypt, and bury me in the cave of Machpelah, as I have commanded you. How that take heed, I pray you, that none of your sons carry me, only yourselves. And this is the matter you shall do unto me when you carry my body to go with it to the land of Canaan to bury me. Judah is Issachar, and this is him listing how they will carry him. And so he put 4 on one side, 4 on another, 4 and then 3. Because Joseph was not allowed to carry his casket because he was a king in Egypt. So he said that he did not want Joseph to carry his casket in order to preserve his authority, his authorship inside of Egypt. So he was the only one that did not carry his brother. And though Joseph, my son, forgive, I pray thee, the wrongs of thy brethren, all their iniquity, and the injury that they helped heaped upon you. I want to make sure I cover this one thing. Okay, so in verse 14, he says, thus shall you do unto me when you carry me away. Do not neglect anything of all that I command you, and it shall come to pass when you do this unto me, that the Lord will remember you favorably, and your children after you forever. And you, my sons, honor each brother and his relative, and command your children and your children's children after, in order that you may prolong your days in the land, you and your children and your children's children forever. When you do what is good and upright in the sight of the Lord your God, to go in all his ways, and though Joseph, my son, forgive, I pray thee, of what your brothers did to you, for the Lord intended it for you and your children's benefit. And O my sons, leave not thy brethren to the inhabitants of Egypt, neither hurt their feelings, for behold, I consign them to the hand of the Lord, and in thy hand to guard them from the Egyptians. And the sons of Jacob answered their father, saying, O our father, all that thou hast commanded us we shall do. May the Lord only be with us. And Jacob said unto his sons, so may Yahweh be with you when you keep all his ways. Turn not from his ways, either to the right or to the left, and performing what is good and upright in his sight. For I know that many and grievous troubles will befall you, and the later days in the land you're in, yea, your children and children's children, only serve the Lord, and he will save you from all trouble. And then it says, and it shall come to pass when you shall go after Yahweh to serve him, and will teach your children after you, and your children's children to know the Lord. Then will he raise up unto you and your children a servant from among you, from amongst you, in the right place, children, and the Lord will deliver you through his hand from all affliction, and bring you all out of Egypt, and bring you back to the land of your fathers to inherit it securely. You see, in Jasher, Jacob is talking about them going into slavery in Egypt, and then coming out because the Lord is going to send someone to deliver them, right? So it says that in the book of Jasher, but I want to show you that that same promise is also somewhere else. And so let's go to Genesis. And so this is Genesis 49. And in Genesis 49, this whole chapter is about Jacob's blessings to all of his children. So this is, what Judah is, what Judah stands for, what Levi stands for, what Dan, and Naphtali, and Issachar, and Zebulun, and why Manasseh has a place, and why Ephraim had a place, and how Reuben lost his place, and why Simeon didn't have a kingdom. You see, people say, oh, all the 12 tribes are all the 12 sons of Israel. No, they're not. Simeon did not get land. Levi did not get land. Reuben did not get land. Reuben did not get land because he slept with his father's wife. Simeon did not get land, nor did Levi, because the two of them came together and killed a whole nation because they raped their sister, Simeon's sister. And so they killed everybody. They started a whole war by themselves. And at the end of it, the Lord gave them favor. They won every battle they went into. So the Lord did not have an issue with what they decided to do. In fact, he supported it. But their father had an issue with how ravenous they became because of what they did. They didn't just go after the one that did the offense. They went after the whole kingdom. And so that in their father's eyes was over. And so he said, because y'all rage is so strong, y'all will never have a kingdom, but I'm going to sprinkle y'all in other nations. So guess what? So y'all will be the firecrackers in y'all brothers' lands because they still need you. You see, when their sister was raped, nobody else stood up for her. Nobody else was going to go deliver her. Nobody in a land where she did not know, with a man that sold her, humbled her, and had no plans on doing right by her or right by the Lord's people. And Simeon and Levi said, this is not the way. This is not the Lord's way. And so since it's not the Lord's way, I have to fix it. You see that the Lord did not have any problem with Louis, a.k.a. Levi, because he turned around and made Louis a priest. Yeah. He is the only one that is a priest. Well, you know, David couldn't make a temple because the Bible said he had blood on his hands. So the blood he had on his hands offended the Most High. But the blood Levi had on his hands, the Lord said, you're all right with me. Or he wouldn't have been able to build those temples. His people would not have been set apart from all the 12, but he never had to work. They had to be the mouthpiece, the hearers, the eyes. They had to be trained on how to do sacraments. They were trusted with a position like that. And so it goes to show you that, you know, the Bible says to be angry and sin not. So in Levi's case, they were angry and they still did not sin in the Lord's eyes. Now we go into, you know, the chapter 49. I'm not going to read it because it is long, but I want to encourage you in Genesis chapter 49 to read it so you know how the 12 tribes were endowed with different blessings from their father Jacob. Now in chapter 50, verses 5 through 9, this is where Jacob is telling Joseph, you know, and all his sons for that matter, or Joseph, for those that have the, you know, no J's in their Bible, things like that. This is what he was saying to his son. Joseph was talking first. He says, my father made me swear, saying, lo, I died in my grave, which I have dig for me in the land of Canaan. There shalt thou bury me. So this is the same thing we heard before, right? In Jasher, he said, this is how I want y'all to come and bury me and where I'm going, which is not in the land of Egypt. Don't bury me here. And it says, now therefore let me go up, I pray thee, and bury my father, and I will come again. So now Joseph is talking to the Pharaoh and telling the Pharaoh what his dad asked of him, which is outlined in Jasher. And he said, my dad told me to go bury him over here. And so the Pharaoh said to him, go up and bury thy father according as he made thee swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Mizraim, which is Egypt, and all the house of Joseph and his brethren and his father's house. Only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. You know, what I want everyone to understand, you see, in this time, not only was Joseph so important, but the Pharaoh regarded the Hebrews so greatly that he made every Egyptian that could walk and that was in leadership to go and reverence the death of Jacob. Amen. And then in the book of Jasher, it says that the Pharaoh told them, whoever does not go, they will be put to death. You died for a person that was not even your people, but not honoring him. And it took a while. They honored Joseph for like weeks on end. It was a long, bereavement. And so we get that. So in chapter 64, and now this is in Jasher. So in chapter, well, let me go to 58 first, because in chapter 58, what we find is that the Pharaoh dies in chapter 58, and this is how much respect he had for Joseph. He had so much respect for Joseph. This is what he did, and this is in Jasher chapter 58, verses 1 to 13. He said, and it came to pass in the 32nd year of the Israelites, going down to Egypt, that is in the 71st year of the life of Joseph. In that year died Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and Magron, his son, reigned in his stead. And Pharaoh commanded Joseph before his death to be a father to his son, Magron. You see, Joseph was first a father to an Egyptian. Not his own blood, not the ones he had, but to the ones that he was asked to be a father over. That favor is going to be returned back to them, is it not? So now that Joseph was somebody else's daddy that was Egyptian, the Lord is going to make them a daddy to Moses. So let's keep going though. And it says, and Magron should be under the care of Joseph and under his counsel. Even though he was physically king, legally king, he didn't get permission to be king. I know that for a lot of Egyptians that was hyper insulting. that we are not smart enough, holy enough, bright enough, big enough, intelligent enough to run ourselves. We have to listen to people that came and stayed. They weren't consultants. They didn't come and fix stuff and leave. They came and they got the best of the land. The best of the land. And I want to show you, before we finish this, I want to show you something really quickly in Genesis so you know exactly what the Pharaoh gave the Hebrews. So in Genesis 49, that's where we were last, where we talked about what Jacob gave. But in chapter 50, now you go to we did chapter 50 already, in chapter 45. So in chapter 45, verses 13 through 21, okay, in verse 13 it says, "And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Israel, and of all that you have seen." Now this is Joseph talking to his brothers when they came to give him the gifts and things like that, and they didn't know he was Pharaoh, and they found it out and all that jazz. So this is now them going back to, Jacob to tell him the good news that his son was not dead, but he was actually the king or a governor in Egypt. And then that says, "And he shall haste and bring down my father hither." And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And after that, his brethren talked with him. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, "Joseph's brethren are come." And it pleased Pharaoh well and his servants. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, how can he say something unto Joseph unless he came to him? You know how important you got to be if the Pharaoh hears something and he stops what he's doing to now go tell Joseph something. Because he doesn't know when his brothers are going back home. He didn't even know they were leaving. He didn't even know they were in town until they were about to leave, because Joseph was telling them what to do. And so the Pharaoh stopped what he was doing and came to Joseph, and he said this, "Say unto your brethren, this do ye, lay your rest and go get you unto the land of Canaan, and take your father and your household, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Israel, and ye shall eat of the fat of the land. Now there are commanded, this do ye, take you wagons out of the land of Israel, for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Israel is yours." And the children of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for the way. So all of them he gave each man changes of raiment, but Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. And to his father he sent after this manner 10 donkeys laden with goods of Israel, and 10 donkeys again laden with corn and bread and meat for his father by the way. So not only were they asked, by not servant, but the Pharaoh to go get his dad, go get his people. He gave them the best of the land, the best of his stuff, the best of his food. They did not lack no good thing, and they didn't even work for it. Joseph didn't even work for it, because he said, "The Lord gave me the word. I'm just telling you what the Lord says." But through his obedience, the Lord blessed him bountifully that he could never work for it. You see, he was once a slave, and now he's a governor in a place where he should still be a slave. He didn't have a whole kingdom there. It was just Joseph. And so that goes to show you, if there be one that will worship the Lord, with the Lord, one is enough. One. But it's amazing that he used one to save them once, he used one to save them again, and he used one to save us all. One. And so now that we know what the Pharaoh promised, Joseph and his people, now that we have to go see, okay, now that we know this, what in the world happened between, the death, and what happened with when the Pharaoh died, and what transitioned the people from being these respected and highly regarded people to now at some point becoming slaves in the underbelly of a town, of a community, of a culture that they first built. And so now we're back in Joshua chapter 58 where we were before, and I stopped after I said that the son Magron was not able to rule his own kingdom, but he was requested, and Joseph was under Joseph's counsel. So verse 3 said, "And all Egypt consented to this thing, that Joseph should be king over them. For all the Egyptians loved Joseph as if hitherto." Only Magnon, the son of Pharaoh, sat upon his father's throne, and he became king in those days in his father's seat. Magnon was 41 years old when he began to reign, and 40 years he reigned in Egypt, and all Egypt called his name Pharaoh after the name of his father, as it was their custom to do in Egypt to every king that reigned over them. And it came to pass when Pharaoh reigned in his father's seat, he placed the laws of Egypt and all the affairs of government in the hand of Joseph, as his father had commanded him. And Joseph became king over Egypt, for he superintended over all Egypt, and all Egypt was under his care and under his counsel. For all Egypt inclined to Joseph after the death of Pharaoh, and they loved him exceedingly to reign over them. But there were some people amongst them who did not like it, saying, "No stranger shall reign over us." Still the whole government of Egypt was in those days upon Joseph after the death of Pharaoh, he being the regulatory, doing as he liked throughout the land without anyone interfering. And all Egypt was under the care of Joseph, and Joseph made war with all his surrounding enemies, and he subdued them. Also all the land and all the Philistines unto the borders of Canaan did Joseph subdue, and they were all under his power, and they gave a yearly tax unto Joseph. And Pharaoh's king of Egypt sat upon his throne, and his father's seat, but he was under the control of the counsel of Joseph, as he was at his first under the control of his father. Neither did he reign but in the land of Egypt only under the counsel of Joseph, but Joseph reigned over the whole country at that time, from Egypt unto the great river of Kir. And Joseph was successful in all his ways, and the Lord was with him, and the Lord gave Joseph additional wisdom and honor and glory and love toward him in the hearts of the Egyptians and throughout the land. And Joseph reigned over the whole country 40 years. And so we are, make sure I'm still, okay, yeah. So he reigned over them for 40 years. And all the countries of the Philistines and Canaan and Zidea and on the other side of Jordan brought presents unto Joseph all his days. And the whole country was in the land of Joseph, and they brought unto him a yearly tribute as it was regulated. For Joseph had fought against all his surrounding enemies and subdued them, and the whole country was in the hand of Joseph, and Joseph sat securely upon his throne in Egypt. And also all his brethren, the sons of Jacob, dwelt securely in the land all the days of Joseph. And they were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly in the land, and they served the Lord all their days, as their father Jacob had commanded them. You see, so as long as he was in right standing with first the Most High, there was nothing that could penetrate or stop his flow. He was flowing so much, he took over not over Egypt, but over everything in his midst. Anything he went to, he conquered, he subdued them, and they started paying tribute to him. And so his wealth also was given to his brother. So Joseph had his own money. He didn't have to run the Egyptian treasury. That was the king of Egypt's business. But his business was the Lord's money, which was the money that the Lord gave him to be responsible for, to be able to feed the whole kingdom. You see, Joseph didn't stop being the leader, or if you will, the headship over what the Lord brought into Egypt after they all got there and Israel got back in control. He still was responsible for them for as long as he lived. And even when he was leaving, that responsibility still had to be maintained inside of the 12 tribes. And so that's where you find in the blessing how each of them had to uphold what the Lord started with Joseph, but had to be done through the tribes. And so we go there. Now in Genesis chapter 47, I want us to understand. You see, at this point, there are no slaves in Egypt. There are no, or Mizraim also. There are no slaves that are Egyptians, and there are no slaves that are Hebrews. But let's understand what happened in Genesis chapter 47 with the concept of slavery. And this also is because of Joseph. So in verse 23, this is what happened. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is your seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the fifth part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your household, and for food of your little ones. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of Adonai, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a Torah over the land of Mizraim unto this day, that Pharaoh should have the fifth part, except the land of the priests only, land of Israel in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions therein and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Yaakov, or Jacob, lived in the land of Israel 70 years. So the whole age of Jacob was 147 years, and the time drew near that Israel must pass away. Then it goes on to say how he's, basically passing away in Genesis. But what I want you to understand is the only slaves in Egypt was their own people. The Pharaoh wanted Joseph to guard or to basically manage everything in the land. And he did so well at it that the people kept eating up what they were doing. So they would keep coming in there and trading stuff. Well, it got to a point where they had nothing else to buy with. So he says, well, I'm going to buy you and your land with it. And then in exchange, I'm going to give you everything you need to harvest, but then he owed Pharaoh a fifth. So taxes was essentially started by Joseph. But the concept behind it is pretty interesting because it is more based on a slave-like system than it is, not our version of slavery, but their version of slavery. And so the only slaves in Egypt was Egypt. We were not slaves. We did not have to do none of the stuff they had to do. And this is something that we have to remember. Because you see, even when you look at America, this concept of, I'm going to give you land, I'm going to give you the resources, and you're going to go work it for me, and then, pay me for it. And so it reminds you of like an indentured servant. That's the way modern day slavery should have been. It should have been that way, which means you don't lose none of your integrity. You lost none of your personal being. It did not compromise nothing about you. It had nothing to do with your faith. It had nothing to do with anything that was personal to you, but everything to do with essentially me investing in you and getting the ROI. Like the Lord says, even wicked people know if you invest something, you're going to get something out of it, but you foolish person, you buried it. You dumb people, you molested it. You dumb people, you did this, you killed it, you did these things. This is not what I told you to do. I told you to invest what I gave you. And just because people say, 400 years of promise. Yes, 400 years of slavery was promise. But look at what the Lord says was slavery, and then look at what happened, right? And this is why the Lord says in Genesis, I'm going to judge them, because unspeakable things did they do. Wicked things did they do. They didn't just make you servants, they humbled you beyond belief. They tried to take your faith. They tried to take me. They tried to take everything you had and make you only a possession, instead of seeing you as an indentured servant. So I am going to judge them for that. Not because they were faithful and they made you service for 400 years, but because they did the unspeakable. I didn't tell them to make you bucks. I didn't tell them to make you this way. I didn't tell them to have you raped and killed and becoming science projects and all these other things that they did to you. So I'm going to judge them for that. The Lord isn't judging anyone for the 400 years he already knew was going to be given. He didn't even judge the Egyptians. He judged the Egyptians because they wouldn't let them go. That's what he said. They wouldn't let them go. But if you look at what the Egyptians did they rape them? No. They made them work. And they thought by making them work and then beating them to make them work, and fighting them, that was going to stop them from growing, stop them from procreating, keep them away from their wives. But what they found, it did none of those things. But here is the question that begs to be asked. What in the world happened? What did they do? Did they do something? Or was this just some mean thing that the Lord did, as some might say, for his glory? Did he just put you through this because he just felt like you needed 200 years of slavery? Is that how he felt? No. And so the question I had was, okay, Lord, I don't know that answer. So help me understand, what could have been the landscape for how something like this could have been. And so the Lord brought me to the book of Louis, a.k.a. Levi. If you've never read the book of the 12 patriarchs, I have it in this. This is a really great book. It lists all of them in here, and I'm going to be reading from his chapter 9, because I believe that what the Lord did and said through him is the reason why we still suffer today. This right here opens the floodgate, and I'm going to make it plain, best I can. I'm going to give you many examples so that you can see what the Lord showed me. And it says in chapter 9, and after 2 days, I and Yahudah, a.k.a. Judah, went up with our father, Jacob, to Yitzhak, our father's father. So this is Isaac. Yitzhak is Isaac. And my father's father blessed me according to all the words of the vision which I had seen. You see, Levi had a vision, and he didn't want to say anything because he didn't know how to communicate it, accept it, give it to somebody else. So he kept it to himself. But even when he kept it to himself, 2 days later, the Lord told somebody else, and then that one called him, and now they know his dream. So you got no choice now but to face the reality. And so it says, and my father's father blessed me according to all the words of the vision which I had seen. He didn't tell him the vision. He said, according to what I had seen. And that just goes to show you that the Lord will deposit. If you think you're going to get away from something, the Lord will tell somebody else enough so that they can come and tell you what you should have already did to make you obedient all over again. But don't assume that's always going to be that way. Because sometimes, the Bible always says obedience is greater than sacrifice. And so his mercy and grace, we don't know when that runs out or if it's going to run out in that situation and that with something like that. So it's better to be obedient. Even if you don't think you got it all together or you don't see how it's going to manifest, always be obedient to it. If you're going to fall for being obedient. And so it says, and he would not come with us to Bethel. And when we came to Bethel, my father Jacob saw a vision concerning me that I should be their priest unto the Lord. And he rose up early in the morning and paid tithes of all to Yahweh through me. And so we came to Hebron to dwell there, and Isaac called me continually to put me in remembrance of the statutes, the laws of Yahweh, even as the angel of Yahweh showed unto me. And he taught me the judgment, the laws of the priesthood, of sacrifices, of whole burnt offerings, first fruits. So who taught Levi? The angel taught him. There was no man that gave. The people would say, "Oh, the Lord gave y'all religion. The devil is a liar." This stuff here came from the Lord's angels. And just to be clear, we do not control angels. People do not tell angels what to do. The Lord tells angels what to do, and then we get to embrace them or see them or however they interact with us. Not because we said, Lord, Michelangelo, come here. No, you cannot tell him what to do. He won't listen to you.
That's right.
And so him having an angel come talk to him was only because the Lord sent him. And it's the whole burnt offerings, first fruits, free will offerings, shalom offerings. And each day he was instructing me and was busy on my behalf before Yahweh and said to me, beware of the root of fornication. For this shall continue and shall be the seed, thy seed pollute the holy place. Take therefore thyself a wife without blemish or pollution, while yet thou art young, and not of the family, and not from a family that is a strange nation. You see, fornication and taking on polluted people, aka polluted women from strange nations. You might say, well, Lord, how can you say what love is? Or Lord, how can people say, that sounds racist? Not according to the Lord. He said strange nations, and he meant it. Let me put it in perspective for many of us that might be offended, when we hear something like that. Well, Lord, I can't deal with black people, or I can't deal with my people because they X, Y, Z, Z. Okay, let me help you out here real quick. The Lord told Hebrew men before, dump all your wives and your kids and start over. Yeah. So who did they leave? They left Philistine women. They left every kind of woman that they had. They left the kids and the women, and they never came back. They didn't send child support checks, nothing. Just left. Out of here. And that was it. You don't see these kids come back. But it's true. Then you had King David. King David had a lot of wives. You had King Solomon. He had a lot of wives. Then you had Samson. He had 2 wives, and they both were opened up. They were both Philistine women. They both come to his knees, and he did it twice. And any other women he slept with were still not his people. And so we wonder, well, God, why is there disease in the Hebrew nation? Lord, why is my kids crazy? Lord, why is this happening? Lord, why is that happening? Lord, how can this happen? Well, fornication opened the door. Fornication opened the door. Now you might say, well, what happened with Joseph? Joseph couldn't help that. He was the only Hebrew in the midst of everywhere, in the midst of where he was. That's not what we're talking about. The Lord called Esther to marry a man that was not a Hebrew. So we understand that too. But what we're talking about is a great falling away. A great falling away of marrying strange or dating strange or doing strange things. If you are not for him, then that means you're against him. If you are against him, it don't matter if you're black like me. I can't hang out with you because you are the opposite of where I'm going. So I erase that when he says strange nation, the Bible says that he will raise his own nation. The nation or the kingdom of the Most High, that is a nation. So if they are not part of the nation of the Most High, you cannot marry them because they are strange. It also says, beware of the ruka or the spirit of fornication. You might say, well, Lord, I don't know about that, but I mean, we do pretty good. Look at how you date. The very concept of dating is wrong. You already left field. You already missed the boat. You already brought in everything. You already brought in the deep. You already kicked the door in for drinking and alcohol and lasciviousness and all. Judah lived this, y'all. This is Judah. Judah lived like this. People say, well, I don't understand why we went into slavery. Look at Judah. Judah was drunk 3 times, came out with 3 kids, by 3 different baby mothers, and well, we don't want to talk about that though. So ain't nobody gonna say nothing about that. So the Lord is supposed to eat that. Reuben sleeping with his dad's mama. He's supposed to eat that too. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. But what you don't know is the Lord has to correct sin. The Lord says that I will forgive you, I will celebrate you, I'll do all of these things, and you keep up for your own fault. Say, hey, I'm here for you. I'm with you, but I'm not going. I don't have to suffer. Suffering ain't for me. Suffering is for you to learn. The Bible says that you don't spare the rod. What makes you think you're not going to get the rod? Because Lord, I repent. I repent. Repentance does not spare you from being corrected. It does not spare you. Okay? It does not save them. So, yes, slavery came because they were living hellish. It didn't just happen out of nowhere. It happened because sin, when it is grown, it produces death. It produces it. So people think, oh, I can sin a little, forgive me. Sin a little. I know, right? Hallelujah. And Lord, I kept these for you. I did it. I kept the Holy Ghost. But you go turn on the next day and do the exact same thing. You go home to the same boyfriend, that same girlfriend, or to the same club. You look like the same people you listen to, and then you want to go preach to somebody else about that thing, and you live a whole lifestyle that is exactly against what your father told you, and you would call the Gnostics and the agnostics, the people who believe in nothing, foolish. When you say you believe in the creator of the universe and got him in your ear, and you don't even know how to live right, and you call them down, I call you stupid, because the Bible says you are close to being a blasphemous person than a person that don't know no better. I can't hold you accountable for something you don't know as much as I can hold you, and then you turn around and walk away from me. Y'all know me, and y'all walk away from me. Okay, well, let me show you what I'm gonna do then. It might not be in your need. Okay, I might be able to spare you, but can't say much for your kids. He spared David, but he didn't spare any of his kids. Not one. Even Solomon had. Even he got hit with the problem. And it was all from fornication. It started with fornication, rape hit fornication, Solomon hit fornication, and the rest of them hit greed. So he slept with all his daddy's wives. Fornication. The spirit of fornication ruins nations. Ruins nations. So if you think you're going to fornicate and get away with it, let me let you in on something. It will hit everything you like, you love, and you think you got away with, and it'll come up and it'll look something like this. And you'll wonder, well, why am I 40 years in the wilderness? Why everything I'm trying not working? I'm trying to go to college and it ain't working out. I got a job, but I don't make enough money. I don't know why poverty seems to follow me. I don't know why these things seem to attack and won't release me. I don't know what I'm doing. Look at your life. Look at what you've done. And a lot of people might say, well, Lord, I repented, I'm done. I pray you really are done. Because if you say you're sorry, that's not repentance. Repentance is turning away from something and turning a new leaf. Never going back. And if you go back, you ain't no better than the one that turned into a pillar of salt. Then she's gone. She never returned. She never came back. There was no, Lord, no second chance. And see, everybody thinks, I gotta get a second chance, and you don't. When the 40 years happened, they had no second chance. They had one chance. They kept getting chances. The Lord kept giving patient. They worshiping cows. They trying to get past. It's like, my goodness, y'all just came through the miraculous, and y'all still go back to the bomb. It's true. It's the environment.
The religion.
If
you go back to Deuteronomy 28, where it tells all over the four corners of the earth, and then also that we worship foreign gods that our forefathers never even knew. So yeah,
so we're living it out. And in Exodus 1 and 8, because some might say, well, okay, what happened? Because as long as one of the 12 tribes was alive, the Egyptians was not trying the nation. They didn't try the nation at all. They waited till the very last one died before they did a crazy one. And it goes to show you, in Exodus, it's going to tell you this, and in the book of Jasher, it tells you the same thing. So in Exodus chapter 1, it says, now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Mizraim. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Louis, Yehuda, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Mizraim already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. So all of them died, right? This is a restart. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there rose up a new king of Mizraim, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we are. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they have multiplied, and it comes to pass that they, when they are foolish out in war, they join also our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Now you see, when the reason why he's saying this, I think it needs to be in context. You see, when you read the book of Jasher, it tells you what's going on in between these sentences. And I believe that is important to know. So what you do need to know is this. And so we're going to have to go to the book of Jasher. And this is probably the last thing we're going to read today. And then I'll come back and I'll finish this next week. And that is in Jasher. Yeah, because it talks about, not there. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. I believe it's in Jasher chapter 67. Let me go there real quick. So it's 67. Okay, no, not there. This is going to be, it's got to be chapter 63. But this one's after. Okay, so. Okay, yeah, here. And so this is Jasher chapter 63. And it says, and in the 93rd year died Levi, the son of Jacob, in Egypt, and Levi was 137 years old when he died. And they put him into a coffin, and he was given into the hands of his children. And it came to pass after the death of Levi, when all Egypt saw that the sons of Jacob, the brethren of Joseph, were dead. As long as they were all dead, all the Egyptians began to afflict the children of Jacob and to embitter their lives from that day unto the day they're going out from Egypt. And they took for them their lands and all the vineyards and fields which Joseph had given unto them, and all the elegant houses in which the people of Israel lived, and all the fat of Egypt. The Egyptians took all from the sons of Jacob in those days. And in the hand of all Egypt came more grievous in those days against the children of injured in Israel until the children of Israel were weary of their lives on account of the Egyptians. You see, what does this one sound like? Now, I know many of us have a lot of understanding of what happened during the Holocaust. But again, you see how the Lord works. Whatever you dish out, the Lord is faithful to return it to you. And he does it in the most strangest of ways.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you may know about, I might not understand this right, y'all, but y'all know who they are, about the Ashkenazi Jews, the ones that went through the Holocaust. But let me tell you something that I find interesting about those. When they started being stripped of their businesses inside of Germany and inside of, what else were there? They had like 4 or 5 countries that they were very prominent in. And they excelled in banking, and they owned a lot of the businesses, owned a lot of the shops, to the point where the people felt like these people own more of our country than we own of our country. So we got to do something about these people. You see, when you go around stealing other people's heritage, you got to be careful, because you don't know what you're going to reap on your own self for trying to attach yourself to something that don't belong to you. And you will end up getting spanked when that wasn't even for you. But now, since you brought yourself into it, I'm going to show you. You want to be a Hebrew? You want to be a Jew? Let me show you what that looks like. Okay? Let me show you what it looks like. So what happened was, the Hebrews were stripped of all their stuff by the Egyptians.
Right.
And now these Ashkenazi Jews, they were stripped of all their stuff.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting pushed into what? Ghettos. So they got pushed into the ghetto. Now what happened was, when they were in the ghetto and when they were losing their businesses, people were telling them, please, go home. Go somewhere else. Why are you staying? The question becomes to the Hebrews, why are you staying? This is not your homeland. They knew that. But what were they? Comfortable. They had the best of the land, remember? They had the nicest houses, remember? They were up. They didn't have time to look down, because they never knew what that looked like. They were never slaves. They were never poor. They were never defeated. Joseph won every battle. What do they know about loss? All they know is what they're doing. And what were they doing? Everything they wanted. Fornicating, lying, doing everything that the Lord told them not to do. And so now when judgment comes, it comes in swiftly too. They lose all their stuff overnight. Oh my goodness. Oh, I need to go to court. I'm going to get off right back. I'm going to sue. I'm going to sue. Do you know who I am? Do you know who Joseph is? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? And they're looking at him like, my fathers knew them. We don't know them. People wonder why, how did this culture, take all of these people and do these things? And then they say, well, I didn't know them. Or this is my forefathers' business. It has nothing to do with it. It's true. And they really don't know. Some really don't know. And so now when people were telling the Jews to leave, the Ashkenazi Jews, they said leave. And they said, no, this is our country. This is where we are. We deserve this. We fought and we bought this stuff. The Hebrews fought the same thing. We deserved this. If it wasn't for us, everybody would have went down in the famine. If it wasn't for my great father or my great uncle Joseph, we will all be. But see, they didn't care about that. Just like none of these other cultures, these other countries cared about what the Jews thought they did for their country. And they still put them through slavery, through hard times, through all these things. And unfortunately for them, they went through a massacre. And so now we are brought to, the chapter of Naphtali, chapter 8, verses 1 through 7. And I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to do a prayer, and then we're going to leave after that. And so I want to read this because this here is important to understand, why it really is important for you to know who you are. Because for some of us, we got assignments. And in Naphtali chapter 8, verses 1 through 7, this is what it says. And lo, my children, I have shown unto you the last times, how everything shall come to pass in Israel. Do ye also therefore charge your children that they be united to Louis and to Yehuda, for through them shall salvation arise unto Israel, and in them shall Jacob be blessed. For through their tribes shall Elohim appear dwelling among men on earth, to save the family of Israel, and to gather together the righteous from among the Gentiles. If ye work that which is good, my children, both men and angels, shall bless you, and Elohim shall be glorified among the Gentiles through you. And the devil shall flee from you, and the wild beast shall fear you, and Yahweh shall love you, and the angel shall cleave to you. As a man who has trained a child well is kept in kindly remembrance, so also for a good work there is a good remembrance before Elohim. But him who doeth not that which is good, both angel and men shall curse. And Elohim shall be dishonored among the Gentiles through him, and the devil shall make him as his own peculiar instrument, and every wild beast shall master him, and Yahweh shall hate him. For the commandment of the Torah are twofold, and through the prudence must they be fulfilled. And so I want to leave that there, and then I'm going to pick up next week because we have to pick up with the story of Moses. And this sets the tone for how Moses was able to do the things the Lord empowered him to do, and how we now today have to know what this means as it relates to us. Because see, there's a lot of yous in this. It's not this is direct. This is a direct commandment, to the kingdom. And so we need to know what that means for us today, and then what is our responsibility. So with that being said, I'm going to pray, and Lord willing, I will see you all again next week, and we'll do part 2. So Father, I thank you so much for giving us the ability to just be in your presence, Father, and speak out your will and your word for this day and the word for the nations at this time. Lord, I pray that you bless and anoint your people to become confident and assured of what you have for them to do and what you want them to see and to say at this time. I pray, Father, that people understand that what you said, you meant it. You came to divide. The sword does that. Because of the word, mother goes against daughter, father against son, and some people for that don't understand what's going on. They might think it's black against white, but it's really the word against those without it. It's really those that want to worship you and the ones that don't. It's really about the sheep and the goats. It's not about what you think on the natural, but it's everything to do with your spirit. It's everything to do with your soul, and your holiness, and your righteousness. And are you of the faith? Are you a citizen in the nation of the kingdom of the Most High? Or are you in some other kingdom? Because there's only two. There's hell and then there's heaven. And Father, you are still the controller of them both. And I pray that people understand, even if they choose not to worship you, they still have to answer to you, because even the demons don't control hell. You do. So Father, I pray for your children. I pray for them. I pray for their safety. I pray for their awakening. I pray for them to be quickened in their spirit so they know the time such as this. You say, do not be envious for the time for which you are born, because you were called for a time such as this. And so, Lord, I thank you for your people. I thank you for your ministers, your pastors, for your people that are speaking the right word, the unadulterated truth, Father. I thank you for people that are breaking off the full nature and the falsehoods of religion, and they're walking with the truth, Father, because you said that you are the truth and the life, and no one else can come into heaven unless they come through you and through your Son, the great and the only Messiah. And I pray that we know who he is and know him by his name. I pray, Father, those that have been misled for a long time, and that includes whites and blacks, because all of us have been lied to. And so, Father, I pray you show us how to rightfully divide the word of truth, rightfully divide our history, rightfully understand what you have written and presented. Lord, we thank you for preserving your word. We thank you for preserving your spirit here in the world. While we can still find you, Lord, we thank you that you are here. And we pray those that have an ear to hear, that they will hear you and respond to your calling. And the next time you call on them, we pray that they say, here I am, Lord. And Father, I thank you so much for your faithfulness to me and to those whom I love and that I know, which includes the entire kingdom. In Yeshua's mighty name, we pray and we bless you. May y'all all be blessed, and bye-bye for now.